this is how our game started. And this is how it looks now.
It is so crazy to think about the fact that we have been working on Furcifer's Fungeon for a year now. I really did not notice that it flew by so quickly. And we have been working on this channel for more or less 5 months. You guys have been crazy supportive. I'm pretty sure you gave the kindest feedback on the whole internet. So, why we have been working full time for this year, and why we have been working on Furcifer's Fungeon and this YouTube channel. We have not taken a vacation, and that's why we are taking a vacation right now for a whole week. So actually we have 3 weeks of vacation time, but the remaining 2, they will be full-time development on Furcifer's Fungeon, which will be great and very, very exhausting. So you guys can join us on the history of the last year Furcifer's Fungeon, and hear us talking about the next year of development on this game and where we are heading and when and if we are getting a demo ready.
We started development inspired by the Lufia 2 Ancient Cave, a roguelike mode inside Lufia 2, where you can find powerful items that you can bring back to the main game only if you cancel the run in time or win it by defeating the boss on the 100th floor. We love the idea of the player finding permanent items and fighting their way down the floors in danger of losing them. But instead of Lufia's slow JRPG combat, we wanted fast-paced action combat. This is the first build of our game, where we had a Terranigma-like melee combat, with different moves depending on if you're jumping or running. We soon replaced this with a spell-based combat. And while we do not have a powerful item system, we have many remainders of this in our design. We have a powerful stats and buff system that's just waiting to be unleashed.
The buff system really is very, very flexible already. So we can add and remove stat changes more or less whichever way we like. We can add them temporarily for buffs and debuffs, we can even cleanse them, but we can also just add them permanently or semi-permanently for some kind of items. And we can use this for every stat we have, in an additive or in a multiplicative way. And the crazy thing is that we can even use them for what we call trigger effects. So trigger effects allow us to do some specific action when a specific condition is met. So a possible condition, for example, would be when the player kills an enemy with a dash, or when the player takes a lot of damage in a short amount of time or stays very close to an enemy. And the number of action varies also a lot. We can do a lot of things like dropping items, doing some damage, doing some heal, but also get really crazy and just cast more spells or apply more buffs. So it would be absolutely possible for a spell, when it hits, to apply a buff that allows the player to trigger a spell when he kills enemies, and this spell could apply more buffs or trigger more spells, really whatever we can imagine. And at the moment we use this whole system for just one single spell, and it is the Infecting Strike. And the Infecting Strike is pretty nice, but all it does is hits the enemy and makes this 10% slow. That is permanent until the enemy dies, and when the enemy dies, the enemy will spawn one little bee. And this is pretty cool, but by far not the most interesting thing we can do with that system. So you may have noticed that our telegraphs vary in color. And this is not just a very pretty effect, even though we think it is. But these colors correspond to elements, and these elements at some time in the past corresponded to classes. The strange thing is, we had 10 of them, which means we had 10 elements and 10 classes. And at some point we designed talents for all of them, for different levels with different choices. Which means we designed 50 different talents, which was a lot of work. And at some point decided our game should not have 10 different classes because that is definitely crazy, and reduced it to 8. And at some point we will likely reduce it to 6, and I'm not sure, but maybe we will even reduce it to 4. His talents also got a little bit out of hand actually. And we are pretty sure that it is a better idea to repurpose them for some kind of items that are just not that crazy in scope. But we will use them for sure at some point.
So as you can see, we redirected and cut quite a bit. That is because before Furcifer's Fungeon, we worked on another game for almost 10 years and we never finished it. So this time the scope needed to stay small. So that's why we decided to drop the complicated loot system for the moment. And also we cut a lot from the spell system. Before you had like 6 spells at a time and you had to manage all of them. Now you only have 3, and that's already enough. Instead, we streamlined the game, and it's really interesting what it has become. We would have never expected it to have neon graphics, being super bouncy and syncing it to the beat. So for Furcifer's Fungeon, we try to sculpture out the cool part of the game and cut everything that is just boring and clutter. We really try to condense the coolness.
Let us talk about the future now. Here are the things that need to be done until the demo release. We need a Steam page. We already signed up for Steamworks, so we can basically start designing the page. A boss. We have started designing this big, aristocratic slime, but we have not gotten around to implementing it yet. We were thinking about making the snake pilot a UFO, the first boss though, because it fits so well with the spaceport and is kind of badass. A background. This corrupted forest background is in the works since a few weeks. We have big plans with it. There will be many animated parts, from the river and the waterfalls to ice on the ground and leaves waving in the wind. Debugging. The casting system has quite a few bugs, and some things we need to rework. Also, characters need auto attacks. We only have the fireball so far, but we want to turn the whirlwind bonk into an auto hit. We still miss some sounds and music. Oh, and Furcifer is not even in the game.
It has been a great year of game development and a wonderful vacation. Now we're ready to head back home and continue developing Furcifer's Fungeon. We would be hyped to see a demo release this year, but we can't promise anything because it's really difficult to plan with our real work. So yeah, we really hope you liked this video. Thanks for watching and bye!